First contact and friction. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the United Earth diplomatic vessel Concordia, watching the swirling, ethereal ships of the Galactic Assembly approach. Where human vessels were angular mountains of titanium and carbon composites, the elder species ships resembled cosmic jellyfish, their translucent hulls pulsing with bioluminescent light. They're requesting permission to dock, Ambassador, Lieutenant Park announced from his station. The Galactic Assembly's High Council representatives seem disturbed by our vessel's defense systems. Sarah suppressed a smile. The Concordia was officially classified as a diplomatic vessel, but like all human ships, it carried what Earth considered standard defensive capabilities. To the elder species, who had maintained peace for 50 millennia through philosophical advancement and mutual understanding, the very concept of armed diplomacy was alien. Grant them permission, Lieutenant, and please inform engineering to power down our point defense grid. Let's not give our guests any more reasons for concern. The docking procedure was seamless, despite the radical differences in ship design. Sarah waited in the reception chamber, her diplomatic staff arranged behind her. The doors whispered open, revealing the High Council representatives. The luminary came first, their crystalline bodies refracting light in complex patterns that served as both language and emotional expression. Behind them glided the Nexari, ancient beings of pure energy contained within elaborately decorated environmental suits. Last came the Vedrani, whose biological technology had shaped the Assembly's shipbuilding philosophy for millennia. Welcome aboard the Concordia. Sarah bowed slightly, following human diplomatic protocol, while their guests performed their own intricate greeting rituals. I am Ambassador Chen, representing the United Earth government. The lead luminary's crystal facets flickered with what Sarah's neural translator interpreted as concerned disapproval. Ambassador, we have reviewed humanity's petition for Assembly membership. Your technological advancement is impressive, but deeply troubling. Troubling. Sarah maintained her diplomatic smile. Humanity has achieved faster than light travel, solved our climate crisis, and eliminated scarcity. These are the baseline requirements for Assembly membership, are they not? The Nexarway representative floated forward, their environmental suit humming softly. Your species builds warships, Ambassador Chen. Every human vessel, including this diplomatic carrier, bristles with weapon systems. The Assembly has not maintained military vessels for over 30,000 years. With respect, Sarah chose her words carefully. We classify them as defense systems. Humanity learned hard lessons during our development. Peace through strength has served us well. The Vedrani representative's bioorganic translator pulsed with shifting colors. You speak of peace while preparing for war. This fundamental contradiction concerns us deeply. The Assembly achieved harmony by moving beyond the need for military power. Sarah gestured to the observation window, where the massive form of Earth's newest vessel, the Guardian, hung against the backdrop of stars. That ship you see isn't a weapon of war. It's a rescue vessel, designed to respond to natural disasters, evacuate civilians from dangerous situations, and yes, defend against any threat to peaceful spacefaring civilization. The luminary's crystalline form sparkled with what Sarah's translator suggested was incredulity. A rescue vessel need not carry enough firepower to reduce a planet's surface to slag. Unless, Sarah countered, you need to stop an asteroid from impacting a populated world, or establish a defensive perimeter against solar radiation during a stellar event, or evacuate millions of civilians while under fire from those who would do them harm. There are no such threats in Assembly space, the Nexari insisted. We have maintained peace for 50 millennia, yes. Sarah nodded respectfully. And humanity honors that achievement. But we've studied our galaxy's history. We've found the ruins of civilizations that achieved similar periods of peace, only to vanish suddenly and completely. The Assembly's philosophy of absolute pacifism is admirable, but humanity believes that peace must be actively protected. The elder species representatives conferred among themselves, their various forms of communication creating a symphony of light, color, and energy that Sarah's neural translator struggled to process. Finally, the luminary turned back to her. "Your species is young, Ambassador Chen. Perhaps too young for assembly membership. You cling to primitive fears. Arm yourselves against imagined threats. This is not the way of enlightened civilization." Sarah straightened, her expression serious. "Representatives, humanity would be honored to join the assembly. We have much to learn from your wisdom and experience, but we will not disarm. We will not abandon our commitment to defending peace, even if that commitment makes others uncomfortable. The universe is vast, and not everything in it shares the Assembly's enlightened perspective." As if to punctuate her words, a priority alert flashed across her neural interface. Lieutenant Park's voice came through her private channel. "Ambassador, we're detecting unusual energy signatures from the outer rim, similar to the patterns we found in the Arcturus ruins." Sarah's heart raced, but she kept her expression neutral. "Consider this, honored representatives. What if peace isn't just the absence of weapons, but the presence of those willing to defend it? Humanity stands ready to be not just a member of the Assembly, but its guardian." The elder species representatives departed shortly after, their forms radiating various shades of concern and dismissal. As Sarah watched their ethereal ships glide away, Lieutenant Park approached. "The energy signatures are getting stronger, Ambassador. 3 more colonies just went dark along the outer rim." Sarah nodded grimly. "Send word to Earth Command. Tell them it's happening sooner than we predicted. And may the Assembly forgive us for being right." The stars seemed suddenly colder as she gazed out at them, knowing that humanity's primitive fears were about to be tragically validated. The warning signs. Captain Marcus Rivera stood in the data chamber of the EPS Hawking, surrounded by holographic projections of star charts and sensor readings. His science vessel, disguised as a standard research ship, had been tracking disturbing patterns along the outer rim for months. Each projection told the same story. Something was systematically darkening the edges of the galaxy. Another settlement just went offline. Science Officer Dr. Emily Zhao reported, her fingers dancing through streams of data. "That's the 4th Vedrine bioarchive this week. No distress signals, no signs of struggle. They just vanish." Marcus studied the pattern of darkened stars, each representing a silent colony or outpost. The Assembly called them communication disruptions, technical failures in their ancient networks. They couldn't, or wouldn't, see the deliberate design forming in the darkness. "Show me the quantum resonance scans," he ordered, watching as new data layers appeared. Strange energy signatures pulsed at the edges of known space, eerily similar to the readings they discovered in the ruins of long-dead civilizations. Dr. Zhao adjusted her display, revealing deeper analysis. The Assembly's records show similar patterns of colony silence occurring every 50,000 years or so. They attribute it to natural phenomena, migration cycles of their member species. "Convenient explanation," Marcus muttered. "And no one ever investigates why entire species choose to migrate without taking their technology or leaving any trace. The Assembly believes questioning such matters shows a lack of enlightenment," Emily replied, her tone carrying a hint of irony. "Their philosophers teach that seeking conflict where none exists only creates it." A priority alert flashed across their displays. Lieutenant Sarah Wong's voice came through the ship's comm system. "Captain, we're detecting unusual gravimetric distortions. Something big just dropped out of FTL at the edge of our sensor range." Marcus straightened. "Classification. Nothing in our database matches the signature, sir, but it's massive. Larger than any known assembly vessel. Send the data to my terminal," Marcus ordered, watching as new projections materialized. The object's energy signature matched fragments of data they pieced together from ancient ruins that predated even the Assembly's earliest records. "Dr. Zhao, begin passive scans. Lieutenant Wong, power down all non-essential systems. Let's not draw attention to ourselves." The massive unknown vessel moved with unsettling precision, its course intersecting perfectly with the pattern of darkened colonies. As they watched, it approached a small luminary research outpost. "Sir," Emily's voice was tense, "I'm detecting energy buildups consistent with weapon systems. But the scale, it's beyond anything in our records." Marcus accessed a secure channel to Earth Command, encryption protocols engaging automatically. "This is Captain Rivera. We have confirmation of Pattern Omega. I repeat, Pattern Omega is confirmed. The ruins weren't warnings. They were prophecies." The unknown vessel reached the luminary outpost. There was no battle, no explosion, no visible conflict at all. The outpost simply ceased to exist, along with the small moon it had been studying. In its place remained only darkness, a void in space that their sensors couldn't penetrate. "Transmitting all data to Earth Command," Emily reported, her hand steady despite the horror they'd just witnessed. "The Assembly needs to see this." "They'll deny it," Marcus said quietly, "just like they denied the warnings in the ruins, just like they denied the possibility that their peace might need defending." He turned to his crew, their faces illuminated by the holographic displays of spreading darkness. "Plot a course to the nearest Assembly core world. We need to warn them, whether they want to hear it or not." As the Hawking prepared to jump to FTL, Marcus studied the final images of the luminary outpost's destruction. Humanity had built its ships for war because they'd found the signs, read the warnings left by ancient civilizations. The Assembly had achieved peace by forgetting its past. Now that past was returning, and their philosophical enlightenment would mean nothing against an enemy that devoured light itself. "Send word to all Earth vessels in the sector," he ordered. "Tell them to prepare for Pattern Omega protocols. What we found in the ruins is happening now, and the Assembly's 50 millennia of peace are about to end." The Hawking vanished into FTL, racing to warn a civilization that had forgotten why its ancestors built weapons in the first place. Behind them, in the darkness of the outer rim, more stars began to go silent. When darkness strikes. Admiral Helen Wright hadn't expected her first meeting with the Assembly's High Council to begin with screams. The crystalline forms of the luminary representatives shattered into prismatic shards as reports flooded in from their outer worlds. The Nexary's energy patterns fluctuated wildly with what her neural translator interpreted as panic. Only the Vedrani maintained their composure, their bioorganic forms pulsing with steady, determined patterns. 3 core worlds gone, the lead Vedrani announced, their translator struggling to convey the magnitude of loss in human terms. 200 billion lives simply ceased to exist. The darkness that your people warned us about, it's here. Helen stood before the council in her formal Earth Fleet uniform, trying not to think about how many times humanity had attempted to warn the Assembly of this threat. "The entity has breached the outer rim defenses. Our long-range sensors detect multiple void signatures approaching Assembly space. Impossible." A Nexary elder's environmental suit crackled with agitation. "Our peace has stood for 50 millennia. We have no defenses to breach." "Exactly," Helen replied grimly. "You had no defenses at all. That's why Earth positioned our fleet along the rim, despite your protests. We've been preparing for this since we found the first ruins." The chamber's holographic displays showed the advancing darkness, massive vessels that consumed light itself, leaving only void in their wake. The Assembly's sensor networks were going dark one by one, ancient monitoring stations falling silent as the enemy approached. "What can be done?" The Vedrani leader's translator pulsed with colors Helen had never seen before. Fear, perhaps, or desperate hope. "Our civilization has forgotten the art of war. We have no weapons, no warriors." Helen activated her neural interface, bringing up the tactical display she'd prepared. "Earth's fleet is already moving to intercept. We've positioned our heaviest vessels along probable attack vectors, but we need the Assembly's help." "Help." The remaining luminary's crystalline form flickered with confusion. "What help can we offer? We are not prepared for conflict." "Your civilization may have forgotten war," Helen said, "but you haven't forgotten knowledge. Your databases contain scientific advances from 50,000 years of peace. We need that knowledge now. Understanding dawned in the council chamber. The Vedrani's bioorganic technology, the Luminary's mastery of crystal engineering, the Nexary's energy manipulation, all of it could be repurposed. Not for peace this time, but for survival. Admiral Wright, her neural interface pulsed with an urgent message. The Epsilon cluster just went dark. 3 billion luminary. Gone. Helen faced the council, her voice firm. Earth's fleet will fight to protect your worlds, but we need full access to your scientific archives. Every scrap of knowledge, every technological advancement, anything that might help us understand and combat this threat. The council chamber erupted in a cascade of light and color as the elder species debated. Helen waited, knowing that each moment of discussion meant another world at risk. Finally, the Vedrani leader stepped forward. We have maintained peace for so long that we forgot its price. They admitted, their translator shifting to somber tones. Perhaps humanity's primitive preparation was wisdom after all. You have the Assembly's full cooperation, Admiral Wright. Helen's neural interface lit up with priority access codes to the Assembly's vast databases. Order all civilian ships to fall back to designated safe zones, she commanded. Earth's fleet will establish defensive positions around your core worlds. The entity's ships are unlike anything we've ever encountered, a Nexary elder observed. How can your vessels hope to stop them? Helen's expression was grim but determined. We studied the ruins. We found patterns in the destruction, weaknesses in the enemy's approach. We've spent decades preparing our ships, our weapons, our tactics. Now we'll see if it was enough. The tactical display showed Earth's fleet moving into position. Massive vessels that the Assembly had once feared as weapons of war, now forming a barrier between civilization and the encroaching void. The enemy's ships approached with the inevitability of entropy, their dark forms consuming light and life alike. All Earth vessels, this is Admiral Wright. She broadcast across the fleet's secure channels. The Assembly has given us full cooperation. Implementation of the Thermopylae Protocol is now authorized. Remember your training. Remember what we're fighting for. Humanity stands guard. As the first waves of void ships appeared on the edge of normal space, Helen thought about the irony of the situation. The Assembly had achieved peace by forgetting war. Humanity had preserved peace by preparing for it. Now, those preparations would determine whether 50,000 years of civilization would survive the darkness. The battle for everything was about to begin. United we stand. Dr. Maya Patel had never seen anything quite like the sight before her. In the vast central laboratory of the EPS Prometheus, luminary crystalline experts worked alongside human quantum physicists. Vedrani bioengineers merged their organic technology with Earth's neural interfaces. Even the Nexary had emerged from their isolation, their energy forms pulsing with new purpose as they collaborated on weapons research. The void ship's outer shell isn't just absorbing energy, explained crystalline scholar Firstlight, their faceted form refracting complex patterns of thought. It's converting it into something our sensors can't detect. Maya nodded, watching the simulations play out on the holographic displays. That's why conventional weapons fail. We're not damaging them, we're feeding them. The laboratory had been running continuously for 3 weeks since the Assembly granted access to their scientific archives. Every Earth vessel with research capabilities had been converted into a joint human assembly workshop. The race to find a way to fight back consumed them all. Incoming transmission from the front lines, announced the ship's eye. The laboratory fell silent as Admiral Wright's hologram appeared. Status report, Maya said, dreading the news. We've lost the Arcturus sector. Helen's image flickered with interference. The void ships are adapting to our tactics. Standard weapons are becoming less effective with each engagement. Please tell me you found something. Maya gestured to the latest test results. We're combining luminary crystal technology with Vedrani bioorganic computing. The Nexary energy manipulation theories might give us a way to disrupt the void ship's conversion process. How long? Days, maybe hours. We're close to a breakthrough. The assembly's scientific knowledge combined with our practical weapons experience. Maya paused as new data scrolled across her display. Wait, show me that simulation again. The holographic display lit up with a complex model of energy interactions. The luminary scholar's crystalline form vibrated with excitement. The resonance pattern. It's similar to our ancient records of stellar formation. Creation instead of consumption, Maya whispered. Computer, run simulation Alpha 7 with the new Nexary energy parameters. The model shifted, showing a cascade of reactions, where the void ships consumed energy and matter, converting it to nothingness. This would force them to release it instead. It would turn their own process against them. The Vedrani bioengineer's translator pulsed with intense colors. But the power requirements would be massive. Maya finished. More than any single ship could generate. She turned to Admiral Wright's hologram. We need every ship, human and assembly alike. If we can modify their energy systems to channel power through the luminary crystals. You'll have them, Helen promised. I'll coordinate with what's left of the assembly fleet. How many ships do you need? Maya ran the calculations. All of them. Every ship that can still generate power. And Admiral, we'll only get one chance at this. The next 48 hours passed in a blur of activity. Assembly ships, their organic hulls pulsing with borrowed human shield technology, formed a massive sphere around Earth's remaining fleet. The void ships approached like a wave of darkness, consuming everything in their path. Crystal resonators at full power, Maya reported from the Prometheus's laboratory. Vedrani biolinks are stable. Nexary energy matrices aligned. Around them, thousands of ships. Humanity's Steel Behemoths and the Assembly's ethereal vessels moved in perfect synchronization. The void ships entered their trap, drawn by the concentrated energy signatures. Now, Maya commanded. Power surged through the modified crystal networks. Vedrani biotechnology amplified it. Nexary energy manipulation guided it. Human targeting systems focused it. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the darkness began to scream. The void ship's energy conversion process reversed, forcing them to release everything they'd consumed. Light erupted from their dark forms. Matter reconstituted itself in massive bursts of creation. The enemy vessels, unable to contain the cascading reaction, began to dissolve. It's working, Maya breathed, watching as stars reappeared where there had been only void. All ships, maintain power flow. Don't let up. The battle raged for hours, creation fighting consumption, light pushing back darkness. When it was over, the void ships were gone, leaving behind newborn stars where they had been destroyed. In the aftermath, as human and assembly ships began rescue operations, Maya received a message from the luminary scholar. We were wrong about your species, their crystalline form admitted. We thought preparation for conflict meant you sought it. Now we understand. True peace requires both wisdom and strength. Maya smiled tiredly. Perhaps that's why we found each other. You had the wisdom of ages. We had the strength to protect it. Together, they watched as the combined fleet began the work of rebuilding, their differences forgotten in the face of a shared future. The assembly had learned about strength, humanity about wisdom, and the galaxy was better for both. Guardians of Tomorrow. 1 year after the void ship's defeat, the Galactic Assembly's Grand Chamber looked very different. Where once only elder species representatives had gathered, now humans stood among them. Steel and crystal, organic technology, and neural interfaces, energy beings and flesh, all working as one. Ambassador Sarah Chen, now serving as humanity's first High Council member, stood before the gathered representatives. Above them, through the chamber's transparent dome, Earth vessels patrolled alongside newly built assembly ships. Elegant combinations of human defensive design and elder species technology. The ruins were more than warnings. Sarah addressed the council. They were lessons. Each civilization that fell to the void ships left behind pieces of knowledge, hoping someone would understand in time. The assembly preserved that knowledge through 50 millennia of peace, while humanity developed the means to use it. And now we must ensure such threats never again find us unprepared. The Vedrani speaker's bioorganic translator pulsed with determination. The combined fleet patrols our borders, but more importantly, we have finally begun to understand balance. Captain Marcus Rivera, recently promoted to fleet commander, activated the chamber's holographic display. Stars sparkled into view, showing the new defensive network being constructed throughout assembly space. Each point of light represented a station where humans and elder species worked together, combining their strengths. The void ships weren't the only threat out there, Marcus explained. Our deep space probes have detected similar patterns in other galaxies. This may have been our first battle together, but it won't be our last. Dr. Maya Patel, now heading the Joint Human Assembly Scientific Council, brought up new data streams. We're discovering things we never could have achieved alone. Human practical engineering combined with assembly theoretical science has advanced both our civilizations by centuries. The chamber filled with lights as the various species signaled their agreement. The luminaries' crystalline forms sparkled with patterns of unity. The Nexaries' energy signatures pulsed in harmony with human neural networks. The Vedrani's organic technology interfaced seamlessly with Earth's defense systems. Admiral Helen Wright, her uniform now bearing both Earth Fleet and Assembly insignia, stepped forward. 1 year ago, we faced extinction. Today, we're stronger than either of our civilizations has ever been. The Assembly learned that peace must sometimes be defended. Humanity learned that strength is most powerful when guided by wisdom. Above them, a new ship class emerged from the shipyards orbiting the Assembly capital, the first vessel designed and built by both civilizations working as one. Its hull combined the strength of Earth's armor with the organic flexibility of Vedrani biotechnology. Luminary crystals powered its systems, while Nexarii energy manipulation drove its engines. Human neural interfaces merged with assembly control systems, allowing both species to crew it together. We call it the Guardian class, Sarah announced. Not a weapon of war, but a shield for civilization. Not just a peacekeeping vessel, but a symbol of what we can achieve together. The ship's name gleamed on its hull in both human letters and assembly script. QOMNVERGNC. The void ships taught us all a valuable lesson. Sarah continued. The Assembly's philosophy of peace was noble, but incomplete. Humanity's preparation for war was necessary, but insufficient. Only together do we form a complete whole. Wisdom and strength, peace and protection, knowledge and action. The chamber erupted in a symphony of light and sound as the assembled representatives signaled their approval. Outside, more Guardian-class ships took shape in the shipyards, each one representing the best of both civilizations. We stand ready, Helen declared, not just to defend against darkness, but to light the way forward. Earth's strength and the Assembly's wisdom, united in purpose. Let any who would threaten peace know that they face us all. As the session ended, Sarah walked to the observation dome, watching the Convergence begin its maiden voyage. Its hybrid crew, human and Assembly working as one, guided it into formation with the combined fleet. The stars seemed brighter somehow, as if reflecting the hope of two civilizations that had found in each other what they had been missing. Humanity had discovered there was more to strength than weapons, while the Assembly had learned there was more to peace than the absence of conflict. Together, they had become something new, guardians of a tomorrow that would be brighter than either could have achieved alone.